Hello, can you hear us?
We are here. We're talking.
Thank you, Jess, the human. We were just spending the entire first 15 minutes of the session with no audio out there.
We were testing you, and you passed.
If you were actually watching.
Thank you, Jess, the human.
I'm pretty sure they could follow. You know, they were at all.
Yeah, they could read my lips for the recap. I'm gonna give a general recap. They killed a big bad guy, who was maybe not a big bad guy necessarily, but you know, under some negative influences. No, I am actually going to very quickly reread the recap for the VOD.
All right, well, you don't get remiming.
You don't have to remime. It's okay. Okay. Last we met, the Wayward Five teleported into the throne room of Theris Moor to confront Queen Aella and secure the shards of the moon goddess Illyvania. Waiting for them was the Queen's champion, Rodrin the Bold. A fight ensued, and they dueled Rodrin until the Queen herself showed up. The fight ensued, and they came down upon the Undying Queen with everything they had, as Curon asked her to give up, and she refused. The party felt the cold sear of Aella's divine magic through the glittering well of power beneath their feet. Rodrin joined the fight again, and as Aella started to struggle to withstand the Wayward Five's assault. He dueled Ekbarl Goth, but before the demon could strike the killing blow, pattering boots ran across the hall through the waters, as Sprig, one of Aella's other champions, appeared from the shadows to block the attack. Unsure where these champions stood in the fight, Scarlet turned her attention from Aella to the champions. She used the prongs of the black to whip the ooze-covered blade around Rodrin's neck, slamming him into the ground and slitting his throat, killing him. Sprig cried out in sorrow and anger, calling Scarlet a horrid creature. This distracted Curon only for a moment, but his focus steeled upon what must be done, and his spiritual weapon pierced the back of Queen Aella, lifting her in the air as she struggled to breathe, the Undying One now on death's door. Thunder struck above with lightning across the shattered sky as Aella cried out in pain and fear. Curon held her in his arms at this point, comforting her before death came. The strings of the Pallid King descended from above and attempted to seize Aella's body, but Curon banished such profane attempts. So Aella the Undying's reign comes to an end as she looked into Curon's eyes, confused by death's shroud and seeing her former partner, Varys Moonbound. And her last words called upon her dead lover. As her light faded, the three shards of Illyvania descended to hover above the pools. That was a quick recap of the recap.
It was. Recap.
Recap of the recap. So
We'll still never hear the end of it from Shannon.
I know, this is gonna... So anyway, I'll go through really quickly where you all are again. Talray is unconscious on the edge of the bright pools. Sarathil, you're coming out from behind cover to see this scene. Timber is in the form of Lu, the wolf god, but has succeeded on his wisdom save to take control of his body back. Curon, you hold the dead body of Queen Aella in your arms now as she just passed away. The three shards hovering just above you and coming down to be kind of floating around you. Scarlet is sort of coming off of her rage, and not sure what Shannon would want her to feel like right now, but I'd say just still mad, still raging. Ekbarl Goth. Scarlet, actually, I know exactly what Scarlet would be doing. Scarlet would be on guard, seeing that Rodrin, or that Sprig is still there. She would be uncertain about letting her guard down with her still there, especially after killing Rodrin. Ekbarl Goth, you are just standing above Rodrin and Sprig right now. Well, not so much above. I always forget that Ekbarl Goth is short. In my head, he's like 6'5", but isn't he like 5'6"? 5'8". I love the idea of this short king demon. Curon, you would hear Sprig is holding Rodrin's body and whispering to him. You can see that for our purposes, mechanically, Rodrin is dead. But he seems to be giving his last words to Sprig in this moment, if you wanted to listen or interrupt.
Seeing that Aella is good and dead, Kiran will do the traditional, movie, close her eyes and lay her down in the pool before turning and moving over to Sprig and Rodrin. And as he does, he's just going to, under his breath, I don't know who or what to call to anymore. But if you're out there, please, I need the champions united, not against each other. Just spare him one last time. And he's going to use a divine intervention to try and keep Rodrin from Death's Door.
From Death's Door. Okay. We will use the level 16 numbers.
Wait.
I think it was 35.
No, 16 is 40, and we made it with a fucking 39.
Really?
Yes, the first time Kiran's divine intervention goes off. It's
my god.
So, folks at home and who watch this on YouTube, I have given Stefan the huge leeway of being able to add 5 points to divine intervention instead of the 1 that they usually get each level. So what would you normally be at, like 16%?
16.
16?
Yeah, it'd be 16.
So he's been going up by 5 all the way up to now at level 16 being 40 into it. And he's never gotten a divine intervention off, and he uses it constantly now just to try to get it.
And you've given me like advantage before.
I have.
You've given me a lot to help, and it has not once gone off.
Yeah. So this is a big deal, and it's a big moment for it to actually be going off.
Aella's interference is finally down.
Yeah.
The frequency is finally.
I mean, that it would be probably what Kiran would think. I mean, realistically,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ayla's been in charge here, and this is the first time Ilivania supposedly has listened to your call. So what I think this would look like is the moon shards dance around you, being this essence of Iluvania. And as you call that out, you would see from each one kind of trails a silver thread that goes into your hand and floats there and forms into this really intricate diamond that has like, it's not just a single gem or a rock. It has really fluid lines of metal all around it, almost like the Evenstar in Lord of the Rings, to form a crescent moon that you would instinctually know to bring to Rodrin's body. And as you bring it there, Sprig looks up at you, tears flowing down her cheeks, as you kind of hear Rodrin very quietly saying to her, "Is it over? Is it over?" Echoing what he said the last time he was resurrected. And you step down, and the light kind of beams from this gem as it lifts from your hand towards Rodrin and then shatters back into that moonlight that reigns over his body. As you can see the choking gash across his neck from Scarlet's blade slowly heals up, and life begins to go back into his eyes.
Not yet. Rodrin, Lysias still needs all her champions for the coming conflict. I'm sorry, there's no rest for you yet.
He coughs and sort of sits up as Sprig helps him up. and he grabs onto her arm, and she lifts him to his feet. I believed I was on the march to death. Sprig looks at you, Kieran, and says, through tears, Ella's... Their voices noticeably no longer echoing. Ella's endless heavens. The moon beyond the moon. The twilight sanctuary. Where is it now? And she looks like, even though you have, for all intents and purposes, saved them from their oaths, their binding oaths, which has always been insinuated as being this reason for their inability to fully function, particularly these two, because of their age, versus, say, the newer Undying, who have much more firmly been mind-controlled. Aella wasn't mind-controlling people when these two became champions, even though she exerted it onto Rodrin. And then Sprig begins to grow angry on her face as she casts her eyes towards Scarlet. The moonglaives are still in her hands, or at least one of them. The other is supporting Rodrin. As you can see very clearly, her tightening her grip on it. As Scarlet, I imagine, has still... I imagine Scarlet would have stood down when you stepped over, but kept herself ready. She's not, like, in a full combat stance. Do you do anything?
Kieran, turning to both of them, goes, now, please. We are all champions of Illuvania here. There's no need for further conflict. Sprig, I'm sure Scarlet was just a little overzealous, Kieran says as he looks towards her, in her need to ensure our party's safety. Please, Sprig. There's no more time for conflict between friends.
My world was dim before, and she nearly shattered it into darkness. Vicious. And she looks to Scarlet for these next words. I have lived a much longer life than you. You don't know pain. Or the weight upon my heart. Kieran, give me a persuasion roll with advantage. The successful divine intervention is what's giving you advantage here.
Haha, 17.
17, okay. I may slightly lower these DCs because they're based on if Rodrin died. Roll me a D4.
Hashtag guidance.
4.
Okay. Yeah, you got the divine intervention also gave you guidance there.
Nice.
So I had built out a success tier for Sprig here to determine what her response is, because I figured you would try to convince her not to fight with Scarlet. What was your total with the 4?
21.
21, okay. That just gets you into the mark for a non-violent success. 1 through 14 was a complete failure. 15 to 20 was a success in convincing her that she needs to help you. But in her mind, Scarlet must die, and she would have attacked Scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
What you've gotten now is kind of grudging peace. You didn't get the perfect peace that you wanted. She looks at you, Curon, and says, Aella soared above the clouds and forgot the life below. Ensure you do not fall into the same mistake.
I have only ever walked the grounds of this plane. I don't intend to ever soar above it.
She looks over at Scarlet. Be careful who you choose for your champions.
I did not choose them. The Crescent Heart did.
See Sprig's eyes look to the stones. Will you get what you want now?
Not yet. What I have only ever wanted was peace. But as I've said before, and will keep saying, conflict comes, and we must prepare ourselves. Where's Ulmo?
Yeah, she lifts. No, that's fine. You say as you say that, she lifts Rodrin a bit more, and she looks at you and says, "There are more threats in this citadel to be dealt with. You just killed the Queen of Elysia in the middle of her undying court. I thank you for just that. And we will take your advice now." And she brings Rodrin closer, and he looks at you and says, Ulamo is protecting the ether chamber where the dragon is.
The chamber? Where is it?
Below, up those steps, behind the pillars near the glass, is the way down.
Talray,
I'll just preface that, like, during this whole exchange, Sarathil would have been tending to Talray, so he's not just dead in the water the entire time.
Yeah.
It's assuming I was dead in the water the entire time, but all right.
You just hear bubbles as he's slowly drowning.
That's not.
But they start walking away at this point to leave.
Sprig, Rodrin, where are you going?
To the country. Cannot help you. Not if this is... She looks to Scarlet, and she looks to Ekbralgoth. Looks to Sarathil, but not as negatively. Maybe just looks at his hands. Not his hands, his hands.
Yeah, I got it.
And then looks up to the, I imagine now, de-godifying Lou into Timber. And...
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
Looks
very,
at
very
Lou
soon.
then.
Very soon.
And then just lands on Scarlet finally. Our fight is over. Rodrin looks like he isn't really in the state to speak at this point. Sprig is doing all the talking, other than telling you where the dragon is.
Be well, champions. I'm sure we'll meet again.
You're just gonna let him go like that?
Yes. They deserve that much.
Kieran, are we in danger?
Well, we're always in danger. I mean, you remember the Pallid King, right? The Harbinger. I mean, hell, even Scarlet could have her control lost. But
Can I go back to my dream? Is what I'm asking.
yes, Lou, thank you. Please let Timber back out.
And with that, Lou is gonna snap back to Tipper.
That's painful.
Well, Timber's like dying. Timber's bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, I imagine like
Yeah.
literally Timber comes back and like starts gushing blood out of wounds.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like
That's-
immediately grabs at an open like a huge portion of Timber's chest is literally just burned and seared across with the fur all burnt off from the several lunar drift explosions that Timber took to the face.
Yeah. I'm gonna cast Healing Spirit and stand near him, so we can both get some healing going on.
Oh, thank you.
Sarathil's gonna
Dominic.
join you as well, so he can get some as well.
I'm
Yeah.
going
All
to
right, we're all
sneak in
just scrunched up in a 5-foot
Ki-
square.
Kieran comes over and he's like,
Hey, what are you
Yeah.
guys doing?
I could use a little healing myself.
the-
And as we're all clustered together, Kieran go, Talra, did you hear? Glommung is right beyond there.
Oh, great! Everybody, shuffle that way.
As we shuffle,
Sand crab
Sean,
that way.
yeah.
The
Kick
moon
line.
shards that are
Yes.
in the sky. Can I draw them towards me?
Yes, so they are not like they descended like fully down to being floating near you. Like you could grab them with your hands if you wanted to, or you can draw them towards you if you don't want to risk
Yeah.
touching activated magic items.
So, this has been the moment we've been waiting for.
Right.
Well, the moment was when they were united, and Aella kind of beat us to the punch there.
But I mean, as far as assembling them in your staff, no?
Well, it was simply the moon shards themselves that needed to be assembled. Oh wait, so there were 4 moon shards in total, right? There was Kieran's little rock, the one from Ayla's pool, the one from the Gosu ruinations, and the one from the southern temple.
That is correct. There were 4.
Okay.
You do only have 3 here.
Wait, so where's the 4th?
Oh wait, no, that is completely wrong. There are 4 there. I was mistaken.
Okay.
I kept saying 3.
Okay.
There are 4 there.
Right. Well, the idea was always that, when Kieran got the first one, it kind of fused with his old one, but
Yeah,
I guess technically there are 4, 3, 2, 1.
yeah. I
If
could
you
say
guys
yeah.
spend 1 minute standing next to me, you heal 64.
All right.
Well, you roll it, don't you?
I just did.
What is it?
64.
Oh, I thought you said 6d4.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I thought so too. Awesome.
Oh yeah, good job.
You all would start to hear commotion in the halls, echoing from the steps that lead down to the chamber with Glommung.
All right. Kieran is going to pull the shards together
Mm-hmm.
into his hand as he turns to go.
Okay. You would feel instinctually that it would be kind of like you need to intentionally fuse them if you want to. Right now, they're staying as 4.
All right. So he'll take the 4 as separate, and we'll focus on Glommung first.
Okay. So as you're heading towards these steps, they're in the back of the room. Like if you look at the old battle map, it's back where Aella was originally standing. There are steps that lead up to the balconies, but there are also steps behind those that lead down. So kind of you go to the back area here, and you can kind of see out the shattered stained glass windows. That the city is. I mean, it's not in disarray or anything like that, but the city is like, there's commotion down there because these people whoever lives here did see the sky crack open earlier in the morning. Or
The sky
previously.
cracked open like 5 days ago, right?
I keep forgetting you guys were walking for 5 days. The commotion below is still happening because you're not like super high up in the Citadel, but you aren't on the ground either. You're probably about a quarter of the way up the height of everything, looking down towards the city. But you can head down these kind of rounded stairs that sort of spiral down with the stained glass on one side, all shattered, until you would see a sort of flashes of light down a hallway towards an opened doorway, where the doors themselves are kind of knocked off the hinges, where you can see magic is being slung in that room, and there seems to be kind of a lot of commotion in that greater chamber. As you can hear some large golem-like sounds, as you can hear just you can presume Naldo is using some slam attacks on some folks. But you're about, it's only like a 30-foot long chamber, and it seems like it opens into a larger 30-foot long hallway that seems to open up into a larger chamber that you can go towards. How do you want to approach? Do you want to just rush, or are you trying to move quietly up to it? What is your approach?
I think we're just approaching.
Yeah, I think
speed.
that Talray has had enough at this point. He resummons Mundi and is, heading towards the entrance. But Mundi's keeping pace with the party. He'll stay in the front.
He's not rushing ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
Could I, since I have some sort of connection to Noldo, and when I summoned him, could I speak with him
Yes.
at all?
I would
in
say
this
yes.
circumstance?
Yeah.
I guess as we're approaching the room, we're starting to move down the hallway. I would say, Noldo, Sarathil, we've cleared out the main chamber of Aella. How many of them are you fighting currently?
Oh, pesky wizards. 3 of them, but more keep coming. You can presume he's fighting some of the seers that he is calling wizards, even though they're priests.
I'll relay them. Noldo's mentioned that he's currently fighting 3 of them, and more are on the way. Maybe we should be quick and get there to help him and move as quickly as possible. This whole place is be absolutely chaos if we try to linger around.
Agreed. Give me one moment to see if I can't convince them to stop what they're doing.
Okay. So, the angle of this hallway to the room is like this, which is why you can't see directly into the whole chamber.
Got it.
So when you start to come down, you can see the kind of hanging doors on the hinges. Kieran, the first thing you see, because there is a lot of you can see contraptions are kind of malfunctioning here as Glommung, as Naldo seems to have been just trying to smash things to free Glommung. As the first thing you would see, though, is slumped down with which looks like her arm completely crushed and shattered. Like when I say shattered, I don't mean like she's a broken arm. I mean like it's like a bag of broken bones and split skin with blood coming down her face. You can see Ulumo is there and seem to have been fighting Noldo individually before the Cirrus came. And she just one eye looking up at you from this state. You can see, she's still, she had that kind of bald head, and she has all the armor on, but most of it's dented into her chest and stuff. She seems like, if you were to look at her mechanically, she's like at 1 HP, like made her death saves kind of situation, and has just kind of come up, and she's just sort of, but like so wounded by this, she can't stand up. Her arm is completely useless. She's just kind of holding her shoulder with one hand as she's leaning against the wall, and she looks up at you and smirks. You, when speaking to Ulumo, saw no personality in her at all because she was just completely mind-controlled.
Well, I had started to break through, remember?
True. Yes, you did. Yeah, and she had nearly had an existential crisis before she was re-controlled. As she does look up at you, though, as if she completely remembers who you are, and kind of knows. She doesn't think you're still an undying champion or anything like that. Mm-hmm. She knows you are undying right now, but she looks up and just smirks and says, "You made it back here."
Ulumo, please, you must help us. Aella is dead.
I figured when I
rectify.
Could remember.
I need your help, please. You're the youngest of the champions besides me, but they won't listen to a heretic.
She kind of looks over and nods in the direction where you can see Noldo is in the opposite corner of the room. This room being probably around 60 feet in width and maybe 80 feet in length. And he's just holding up a seer right now by the leg. As you can see, just sort of guiding bolts hitting him all over. Mm-hmm. As he does look like he's struggling to keep his form at this point. Like he's taken a lot of damage. As he just sort of tosses that seer across the room. What you would have noticed before that, because that's just sort of a thing that you would get to at some point. What you've noticed before that, between you and Noldo, is a very, very large dragon. Even though Glommung is called the Tiny Drake, he is called the Tiny Drake or the Little Drake in comparison to the other god drakes, who are gargantuan creatures. And Glommung has his gargantuan form. He can go into if he wants, but very similar to the other Moonstone Drakes you've seen. Although perhaps a little bit more thicker carapace, thicker hide with more kind of stony or spiky growths on his body, and that same kind of shaggy green fur coming across the chest and down the back and up here on the sort of a beard coming down. You can see he's got that pale, almost opalescent scales with then the violet underbelly. And he's got the one horn that comes up like a crescent moon, much like the rest of the Moonstone Drakes you've seen, as well as those large, translucent, almost insect-like wings that are very large. And he is currently kind of clasped down in this contraption that binds him at the wrists and ankles, binds his wings kind of scrunched together, and keeps him on his neck bound to the ground as he has his eyes open, but they're completely clouded over, much like Shaldreo's were. But it seems as though the many machines or magical contraptions attached to him are weakening with the death of Aella and causing kind of malfunctions. As you can see, he has one arm free that's just sort of like clawing at the ground and like trying to reach for the bindings on his neck. Because you can see Noldo had destroyed one kind of pylon that is around this platform he's attached to, that seem to be connected magically to each of the shackles or each of the bindings. As you can see, Noldo, along with anything attached to him, is going in and out of reality, where sometimes when he's clawing at the ground, his arm goes through it and then comes back out, as he's phasing between etherealness and non-etherealness. You all see this. It's not just Kieran. But Kieran was looking, so I said what I said.
Of course.
But yeah, so he's in the direct center of the room. Noldo seems to be dealing with the seers at another entrance that he seems to have bottlenecked them at after he defeated Ulamo, which is probably the only reason he's still alive, is that they can't all get in here at once. Also, they're a little feeble, the seers.
Yeah.
What would y'all like to do?
So Kieran's gonna head towards Noldo and deal with the seers.
I'll
And
fall behind
what's-
Kieran to make sure Noldo doesn't completely collapse, since I'm kind of channeling his magic.
You're responsible for him.
Yeah, I'm his caretaker. I'm his adopted father.
I'm since it's the like size is roughly the same, I'm just gonna turn the light off in the battle map and throw some minis down.
Okay.
I guess I'm his adoptive wizard.
You are his
Yes.
adoptive wizard, but everyone can go ahead and give me initiative roll.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was what was gonna happen.
Yeah. As we're going, Kieran would kind of shout back. You know, I don't know how much leeway Sean will give us, but he'll go. Sarathil and I will deal with the seers. The rest of you try to free Glommung. Talray.
Already on it.
A bigger wolf.
Starting off strong, guys.
Yeah. What was the
I mean, that heal was real nice. For show.
The heal was very nice.
Yeah. Otherwise, Kieran probably would have gone down to a couple seers. Big wolf.
Sarathil would have just like chilled. It's like, you guys go ahead. I'm just gonna chill here for like a little bit.
Yeah, Kieran was like, I'm gonna play with my new moonstones.
My new rocks.
Yeah. Rocks fun.
I should have spent another minute and healed some more.
Who's playing for Scarlet? Make sure you roll for her.
Oh, right.
Good point.
I'm supposed to be. Should I have her kill the seers too?
Yes, absolutely. Have her kill
No.
Glommung.
No, what?
Stop. I don't like this.
Rage, baby.
What?
Nothing.
What?
20 to 25.
Scarlet got a 22.
15 to 20.
17 for
15
Timber.
for Sarathil.
Eagles.
10 to 15.
I got 11.
You guys can still hear those fuckers?
I actually can't, thank God. I'm telling you, dude, just like pepper them.
5 to 10.
Huron got a 9, Ekbralgoth got a 6.
What was that?
I was being
Okay.
69.
Alrighty. So, hold up. Let me get the. Where is it? Scarlet would go first, actually, because the cultists do not have higher dexterity than her. Cultists, I mean.
Wait.
Well, I guess they are cultists.
Okay. I guess I'll railroad her to go towards one of the chains of Glommung. Try to free Glommung.
Sure. Okay. Timber, there's the Seers are up and then Timber's up after her. So
Right.
um
I'm just trying to think what Scarlet would do, and I don't know.
She would kill
she would-
Ulama.
Yeah, she could.
no. No. I
Well,
mean,
Kieran did say,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, no, Kieran
me and
did say it.
Sarathil are going here. You guys do the chains.
Yeah.
So.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
referred to
Yes.
Talray as
She
being
heats
the one.
metal on the chains to melt them.
Yes.
Okay.
So if I, how far away are they from her?
The chains, they're not that far.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will have her go up, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna pilot Scarlet for this. Scarlet
All right,
is
good.
going to run up
Thank you.
and wait for directions from someone who is going to help. Because she goes up to the chains to do what a martial person would do, which is grab the chains, try to break them, or do something, attack it with the prongs of the black. She goes to attack with the prongs of the black, and it just sort of like goes through the chains because they're ethereal at the moment. So it's gonna take someone else to come up and help her, and kind of together you can start doing these things. All right, the Seers are up, and they're going to see that you all have entered the room, and they're going to try to release this. Two of them. I'll say two of them break off from Naldo. And one of them looks to be a guard that is not undying but serves the undying, and one is a undying Seer, who commands the guard to run towards you to attack, to defend, while they are going to... Where to go? There it is. Going to go for an attack. What is the range on this? Okay. Who is up towards the front? I'd say Curon. Give me intelligence saving throw.
Oh, wait a minute. Is what's it called still up? Has it been 10 minutes since we originally bamfed into the throne room?
Bamfed 10 minutes since then. I'd say you're on the last. We'll just say you're on the last minute of.
All right, so we
Circle
still
of
got
Power.
Circle of Power up. And you said intelligence saving throw?
Yes.
Nine.
Okay. All right, Kieran, you're gonna take some damage. 15 psychic damage.
I am immune to psychic damage because I have Mind Blank on.
So you take no damage. You take no damage at all.
Nice.
And they can see that you take no damage and are a bit shocked as they attempted to do what's called a mind fire on you. They try to like burn your mind in a way, and they go and they have like a sneer on their face. They don't know Aella's dead yet necessarily.
Right.
So they have a sneer on their face as they kind of grasp at the air, and a flame goes around their hand, and the flame immediately sputters out. And they look at their hand and they go.
And at the failure of that,
Yeah.
Kieran goes, I am a chosen of Aella and Iluvania. Your magics won't work on me, seers.
Give me an intimidation roll.
1.
The seer, the seer is sort of. They're not intimidated at all. It's not that they're not taking you seriously though. They're not laugh at you or anything in this
Right.
moment. They look and see who's with you and just say, "No longer chosen, it seems. Aella told us who you are." And they direct their second attack to one of your friends in an attempt to do
Do some
something.
lasting damage.
Exactly. So, and they made a poor choice though. Sarathil, give me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, okay. I'm a smart man.
you should be good at these. Should is the proper
Woo!
term.
31.
31? Okay, you are.
Yeah.
I actually think you couldn't. You would. There's no way you would lose that. So they once again go for this, and they are. The flame just goes out, and like many enemies that are before the power of the Wayward Five, he just sort of looks beyond you, Kieran, to all of your friends standing there, pretty badly beat up, but you both just resisted any damage from this seer, who is, for probably a majority of his life, felt like he was above everyone around him other than Aella. His grin fades entirely as he says what so many enemies about to die say, "Who are you people?"
We're in the Wayward Five.
Kieran
This
says it
time,
in that voice.
Yeah.
With the effect being nullified on me, I'd like to say, we are the Wayward Five. We've all been touched by Iluvania. There's been enough
Hell
bloodshed today. We don't wish to kill you. So stand down or we must. Or we will.
Give me a persuasion roll with advantage.
Oh, with Finch. Aw, 15.
Okay. That's pretty good though. Not all rolls have to be higher than 20. This particular seer looks at you directly at you, Sarathil, as you say this. I imagine Kieran did not say the Wayward Five in that voice and was just
No.
had a steely gaze upon him. Still trying to get the last bit out of that natural one for intimidation. Or actually, that was a 2, wasn't it? You have a -1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
This seer looks to the dragon and then looks back to all the seers and guards trying to contain Nuldo, who are all kind of looking forward as well as you all did this. And the seer just starts to back away, kind of like bumps into some contraptions, and just basically is fleeing. As the others look at this, you see some of the guards look, and they're completely, they actually fall in line to what they would be trained to do, which would be cover the escape of the Seers if they're fleeing. So you see these 2 guards would go in for attacks on Noldo, who's already looking pretty rough. Clay, what's Noldo's AC?
Noldo's AC is 18, I believe.
Yeah, okay. So one of them, they're basically just bringing their blades against Noldo, and they're scraping against the stone. Maybe only one of them deals any lasting damage. And Noldo's still up, but you see, like, one of them comes up and just brings their longsword down, and it just shatters the blade as it hits against Noldo's arm. But the other one brings their longsword against Noldo's leg, and this one gets into the right spot and just deals a little bit of damage that brings Noldo down to 1 knee. As you see, these Seers are starting to flee at this point. They're all backing up slowly. They're not running away. They're just sort of... They're a bit afraid of you. And they're in a bit of disbelief that that Aella's not coming down here and saving them, basically, as you're doing, heresying all over the place here. It's a weird way to say it, I know.
I love it.
You're heresifying this place, profaning the citadel, the halls of the dead before their eyes. What would you like to do? So it doesn't look like as though you've convinced them to, say, stop what they're doing and join you. But you've killed Queen Aella. They may not 100% know that, but they are shocked that you're even able to be here. Some of them might presume that you killed Aella, now that the way you're talking. And they all know that you were a threat coming here to potentially kill Aella. So some of them may, seeing you, just instinctually think Aella must be dead and flee. The 2 guards are still fighting Noldo to try to cover the retreat of these Seers. They seem to just be falling into line of their training.
Are you asking that of all of us, or specifically who's initiative
I guess that's a
it
good
is?
question. I mean, at this point, it's not exactly an initiative if most of the enemies are fleeing. So I'd say you can go into a free action situation here.
Kieran, do you want me to block their exit?
No, let them go for now.
As Sarathil will run in between the guards, or try to get in between the guards and Noldo. Not in between, but like approach them even further. And I wouldn't immediately attack. I'd give him one more ultimatum. Just be like, I don't know what he would say to this. I know this is what you're following orders, but think for 2 seconds your life is not worth it.
Give me a persuasion roll with advantage.
$24.
Ooh, damn! Wow. One of them rolled high, but not that high in their obedience check, I guess. Oh God, this is what happens when Shannon's not here. You would have said that if she's here. They were already kind of backing away and sort of just like attacking Noldo to keep him from attacking the Seers. But they do look at each other. One of them clearly like looking to this other guard for guidance. Like he has no idea what to do in this moment. In a matter of 10 minutes, his entire world has been flipped upside down. He was just sort of like, yeah, it's a pretty good gig protecting Theris Moor. There's no one attacks it. It's great. And the other guard, for a moment, glares at you, and then they just kind of peer their eyes upward towards where Aella's chamber is and back down to you and pass you to Curon and make the connection some of the other guards and Seers have made. And they both back away until they reach that opposite hallway. And once they're in those doors, they stand down and sheathe their weapons. And they don't turn around to leave. One of them looks to you, Sarathil, and is speaking to all of you in this. As, you know, the rest of you, Scarlet, Talray, and Timber, or at least Scarlet and Talray are investigating the bonds on Glommung. And he just says, I presume she's dead.
Yes. It's with a heavy heart we mourn the passing of Queen Aella.
And what happens to us now that you've killed her? Are we not your enemies?
You were never my enemies to start. Nor was she.
But I was 10 minutes ago.
No, you saw me as an enemy. But I only saw you as a fellow Elysian. Aella had lost her way. She was not in her right mind. Time comes for us all, and the undying queen was left in undeath long enough. Now we must move ahead without her guidance. It will be difficult, but together we can forge a new future and learn from the mistakes of the past.
This soldier looks to the other one and looks back at you, and he just says, that message won't spread across the veil universally. Your crusade might have progressed, but you have no idea what you've done to the country.
Oh, trust me, friend, I know full well the ramifications of our actions here today. But do you not see this? Kieran says, pointing backwards towards Glommung.
And you can see Glommung is clearly in pain, too, like in the way they're kind of writhing.
Was it
I imagine
not...
Talray's yelling in the background, like, you folks better get gone. Kieran's giving you a chance. Once I'm done here, we're not gonna be so nice.
Yeah, it's like between
and I'm
Kieran's
doing
words
the wrong
there.
voice.
Yeah, like between. Yeah, that's Wiswick. That's actually coming out of Noldo. It's like between your two statements, Kieran. You have Talray is yelling as he's trying to grab onto contraptions in the pylons, and they just keep disappearing out of his hands into etherealness as he grabs them, and has to kind of start over every time they come back. But go ahead. You had another thing you were going to say, Kieran.
This is not natural. The bond between Glommung and Iluvani was strong, and Aella has shattered that. She sought to use the demigods for her own means. She lost her way. But we don't have to lose Oz.
You see the guard who was unsure of himself is just like looking at this other guard, like he still seems to like look to him for answers, as this guard is just glaring, not glaring so much as he's like skeptically looking at you all. And as Talray yells more profanities and threats at him, he unsheaths his sword non-aggressively and just drops it on the ground and says, I'm done fighting, and walks away. As the other guard looks between the leaving guard and you all, not like he's thinking of fighting you, but he's like, where the fuck do I go? You can notice that kind of expression on his face. It's like, this must have been his commanding officer.
Best to follow suit, friend, Kieran says with a little shooing motion.
You see, he has a an expression on his face, and he kind of looks, and he doesn't run towards you all to attack you. He runs towards Glommung and like grabs onto one of the shackles and starts shaking it himself. Like this guard may have grown a conscience in the last 5 seconds, as you all have stated what you've said. And he begins to try to help you. This is going to be a lot of Alicia. A person walking away and a person maybe a little hesitantly accepting your help and accepting your message.
Mm-hmm.
The dragon continues to roil, and waves of energy flow off of Glommung, kind of like breath weapons here and there that you have to, some of you narrowly avoid, as Glommung seems to be writhing in a sort of delusion state of anger. He's not like attacking you, he's just, his demigod energy is unstable as these machines are latched onto him.
Sean, just as just a clarification. So the chains, not necessarily Glommung himself, is phasing in and out of etherealness. Or both.
No, both. Yeah, but
Okay.
they're in unison, like where they are where you'd be grabbing on to try to dismantle them off of Glommung's arms, and then they would phase out and fall out of your hands, causing you to have to kind of grab them again, and it's a frustrating process.
What are the chains attached to?
So chains is the wrong word. They're not chains. They are bindings bolted to the platform he's on. So his arms, other than the one that got free, there's just like fused to the ground or nailed to the or bound to the ground is just sort of a binding. There's no chains. He doesn't have any leeway with his arms. He's bound to the ground, flattened. And his wings flattened by these bars. Bars, that's a better word.
I wonder if
and then those bars have little like ethereal lines going to these pylons that are also unstable.
Sean, I'm gonna go over to one of the pylons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna hold my action. No, I'm gonna wait until it's in an ethereal state. Take out my immovable rod, click it in there, and then wait until it,
What the hell?
comes back to reality.
Very
guess that
interesting.
works.
Reality. Yup, there goes gravity.
Very interesting.
Freaking physics.
So, okay, so you're gonna click it to activate it right before it comes back to reality.
No. I'm
Or
just
you're
gonna
just clicking
leave
it there and leaving it there.
Wait,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
just leave
That
it
was
there.
the question I was asking, because I was like, all right, well, why would you keep your hand in there? Just click it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
run the
yeah.
risk of your hand getting fucked up.
Right. Yeah.
I that immovable rod always comes in here, and I always forget about it. And yeah, like the immovable rod, when it comes back into reality, the immovable rod fucks up the innards of it, and displaces it, and you can just immediately see kind of like it's like in this phase reality where it's kind of like mirror, like the what is that spell? Is it not mirror image, but blur, kind of like the blur spell is cast on it, and then the two blurs come back together into its normal form, and you just immediately see it bursts into this like purple magical flame as it malfunctions, and you can see like you've broken something inside of it, and that arm of Glommung is not freed, but the bindings become corporeal. And as soon as Glommung goes into an ethereal state again from one of the other pylons, the arm comes out from it. Because when he's ethereal and those things are no longer ethereal, he can just move out of it. So now Glommung's hands are free. And you see he tries to lift himself up, but he does have bindings on his wings that are keeping him down. So he kind of like writhes back and claws forward, and now with two hands, he's reaching for his neck. So to give you a total, there's There are 5 more bindings on him. 2 on his wings, 1 on his neck, and 2 on his back legs.
Destroy the pylons first. When they come back into reality.
You're gonna have to dismantle this pylon some way, just like rip through it, because the movable rod's in it and it's not going ethereal anymore. So it's just stuck inside of its guts right now. Depending on how you, I guess, put it in there. Did you put it in just kind of like vertically along the pylon or horizontally?
Yeah, probably. I was thinking like horizontally, just.
Yeah, horizontally is fine, which means that there is the end of it that you can pull out. There's just a lot of magical fire on it, so it's gonna be like. You might get burned a little bit, but. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could slowly like wrench it free from the pylon and just slowly but surely go through each of these.
Yeah, I'll do that if that'll be my continuous plan, but obviously contingent on what other people do.
Yeah, I mean, as far as you can tell, that seems like it would work. Like that's a pretty surefire way to dismantle a phasing pylon.
Okay. Talray, help me remove this.
Yeah, I think I will help him, and I'll have Mundy sit or like be in front of what's called Glommung, just so he has a friendly face and maybe calm him in some sort of way. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be doing all the things that Timber might be a little nervous to do, like climbing on top of him and getting the ones that are on his wings. And
yeah, I'd say with this movable rod solution, you 100%, the two of you can take care of this. Glommung does seem to writhe a bit each time something is free, because he is still in this kind of state, as Mundy kind of sits in front of him, and Mundy, very concerned for Glommung, is kind of coming up very carefully every time he corporealizes, kind of like a puppy near a bigger dog, and is just sort of carefully sniffing at him and pawing at his face when he can, and then once you release the neck, I imagine the neck is the last one. Once you release the wings, they spread out super far, and there's this huge wave of magic that spreads across the room as the wings unfurl and spread across the entire chamber. The chamber's too small for the wings to fully unfurl.
I like to think that Talray and Timber, who are floating, just get knocked against the wall.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a situation where when he corporealizes and can move, you two are just whoa, and kind of get moved up, and you have to kind of grab onto each other a little bit to stabilize flying, and zoom over towards the tail, release the tail, and it just sort of immediately whips around, and you need to dodge it and move through and around. You get the legs, and Glommung is now kind of pulling on the last one, and that's when you get to the head, and you put the movable rod in, and the flame goes up, and Glommung turns completely ethereal. And you can see his wings even going in to the wall, and probably up to the Aella's chamber and back out, as he then kind of folds them in and lifts his neck. And you can see he holds his eyes shut tight as they were opaqued over, and then shakes his body, and you can see kind of this magical energy sifts completely off, almost like a buzzsaw sparks that just flurl off of the entire body. And then as that kind of blinds you a little bit and you cover your eyes, you open them, and you can see his entire corporeal form now, glittering. Where before it may have been dull, there seems to be this rejuvenating magic that enters into him as he opens his eyes, and you see these beautiful, beautiful indigo eyes. Big. Have you guys seen a dragon before, besides this one?
We
Besides
saw
Monday.
that. We saw that volcano dragon.
That's
Yeah, we
true.
saw
Yep.
the aspect
Wiswick
of
turned one
Barrett.
into an animal, I think, at
Oh,
some
wyvern.
point
And
earlier
Wyverns.
on.
You've seen, yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure that you like had another dragon sit on top of us when we had a tiny hut.
Oh,
And we
the
were just
yellow
like,
drake. Yeah.
what are we
But
doing?
I meant like a
Yellow
like
drake.
like any other kind of like big.
Yeah, we've only seen aspects of the
Barrett.
drakes.
Yeah.
And
Pseudo dragons?
Forced.
Oh
We
yeah.
saw the Draco Lich.
Oh, that's right.
stand
That's
in.
right.
Great
Um,
knowledge.
Yeah. That was before Sarathil's time. Right before. That would have been an interesting arc for Sarathil to be a part of when you guys were fighting
Yeah,
a
it's
necromantic
true.
cult. But these eyes open up and they're bewildering, and they're much bigger than, like, dragons have these kind of intimidating small slitted eyes. These are much more, the way I'll put it is kind of, you could even think of it like domesticated, in the sense that it's much friendlier looking, and
Yeah.
generally Glommung, it looks more cheerful now. That long scraggly beard glitters like moss coming off of his skin as he opens his eyes and sees Mundi first. And you would hear some groaning under Glommung's breath.
Mundi? Is that you?
And the big head just turns and looks to you, Talray.
I'm already in like a kneeling position. You know, like just like it, you know, I've got my arm like giving him like a bit of like a salute, and I just have my head bowed. My wings are unfurled.
And you see Mundi, Glommung readjusts his body and kind of flurls the wings up, and then brings them back together, adjusting to be sitting towards you, although the room is starting to get cramped for him. Despite the mini, he's much larger than the mini. And he has this sort of, you're the best at discerning the faces of dragons. For the rest of you, not a lot of emotion on dragon faces, other than, sometimes they can express smiling and anger. But he has kind of a furrowed brow at you. You almost like feel like he's not punishing you or scolding you, but maybe a hint of like, where have you been? Is kind of the face you're getting from him.
Yeah, as soon as like I feel his gaze on me, like I lift my head up. Maybe it's just I don't know if I feel his gaze or just his breath, but
Oh yeah, both, I'd say.
I look up and I say, well, this was a tough one. I didn't think it was gonna take this long, but you know I'll always find you. And I just give him a big smile.
And who did you leave in charge of the Horde?
Well, did I leave anybody in charge of the Horde?
You tell me. You tell me.
Oh God.
I would say that I probably, didn't, like, I left somebody in charge of the whelplings that were in there,
Mhm.
but I didn't, like, leave somebody to guard the Horde. I kind of just,
Yeah.
like, locked it up as best as I could. Like, set some traps and then left.
Lock the door on the way out.
The dimensional door, because I don't even know how that works.
Yeah. So what would you say then to him?
I would say, well, the whelplings are safe, but I don't think anybody is there. I figured it was more important to find you.
He kind of gives you one last, like, really discerning look. And for a second, you feel like you might have fucked up. But you, above anyone else, can then see a very slight curve of the dragon mouth as a smile forms. Glommung is quick to recover from a dark period in his life as he looks at you.
Talray, Drake Warden. Thank you. Where is Queen Aella?
Finished.
Tragic. She couldn't be saved.
Why do you sympathize? She's the one that put you in this mess, isn't it?
I've known Queen Aella for millennia. That's how she captured me. I presumed she needed my help and came willingly. Oh, how painful to have her memory besmirched by such foolishness at the end of her life.
Mr. Glommung, excuse me.
You brought friends, Talray. Who are you?
Yes, I'm, Curon Islastana. The heretic against Aella. It's an honor and a privilege to make your acquaintance, sir.
And you see the body shifts again, the long tail flying through the air as you see the full force of Glommung turn towards you, and you feel a breeze. It seems like when he moves, a breeze moves about him, and it is refreshing. Almost, maybe not for the undead folk who I don't imagine your bodies function weird. So
You guys feeling it?
But no, like even for those of you who are undead, you feel this almost like a warm spring breeze pass through you, and a comfort and the smell of fresh earth and life and whimsy, almost in a weird way. The room generally has a warmth and comfort to it in Glommung's presence.
Yes, you need not worry of Aella's passing. Well, the balance of powers are a little off, but I swear to you, I understand her corruption. I do not wish to belittle everything she's done for this country, for my people, simply because there was one oversight that caused so much pain.
Wise, as expected of Nisilastana, first shepherd.
You know of my family?
I have lived in Elysia for many years.
Of course.
A long line goes back to the Moonbound.
Talray chuckles and says, I never thought your over-interest in the material plane would actually be useful someday.
spend more time amongst this place to help it heal.
It is in great need of a lot of healing, I've seen.
If only
You
more
don't
of the
know
gods.
all the crazy stuff we've been into just trying to find you.
Oh, well, you'll need to tell me all about it, Talray. I have
Wow.
so missed your storytelling.
I'll do my best. But first, a gift from the travels. And I hold up the scepter of the dragon that I received.
The tool used to bring our flight down. I don't
Captured
know.
from the imprisoners of our brothers, and purified to help free you.
Ooh, it seems fitting. You wield such an item. Of course, as long as no one has stolen everything from our home, Talray, you can always exchange it for something else.
He just says, well, maybe if you gave me a way to get back there really quick, I wouldn't be in this situation.
Oh, Talray, close your eyes then.
I close my eyes.
Give me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh boy, why did I do this?
Uh,
I regret my decision.
the Twilight Drake and the Twilight Drake and the also known as the Little Drake is also known as the prankster Drake as well.
I got a nat 20 minus 1 is a 19.
A 19. This is a god.
But it's a nat 20.
A demigod. Talray, expecting some, maybe because it's been so long since you've been with Glommung, expecting a little bit of a little, I don't know, a gift or something, or being sent back. I mean, you only missed the DC by 1. It was DC 20. If you didn't have a -1, you'd have gotten it. But he's done this to you before. It's his favorite prank, which is to use compulsive dance on people when they think that he's going to give them a little like dragon boon. So all it says is a merry waltz begins as Talray starts to dance compulsively to music that only he can hear in his head. And as Glommung just starts to laugh, and you can see the dragon, the god Drake, rears up on his hind legs and basically gives a hearty belly laugh as his upper claws clasp at his stomach, and he falls backwards, rolling around laughing as he ends the enchantment on you, Talray.
Still falling for it, Talray.
Not like I have much choice. And I just scratch my head.
Who are the rest of your friends? Heroes of the Moonstone Flight.
Well, we've got Timber over here. Huron, you already met. Sarathil in the back. And Scarlet.
And what about me, your favorite of the Wayward Five? Ekbargoth says from the back.
Oh, you were hiding back there. Hi, that's Ekbargoth. I call him Eckard.
Eckard. A demon.
Yes, a seneschal of Ika, of the Tabernacle of blood.
Yes, I know you like your titles. Tell me, what do demons eat for breakfast?
Well, me, I'm partial to a good soul or two, but...
Deviled eggs.
I don't like you.
So, Glommung then kind of just looks to each of you, and then kind of turns his long neck around, and there's that one Elysian guard kind of holding onto his helmet in his hands with his sword sheathed, just looking up at the dragon. Oh, I am Ellis.
He's not with us.
Well, kind of he is. He helped.
I don't know if unlocking the cell door is helping.
Well, Talray, to heal this land, there will be forgiveness needed for those who participated. But forgiveness is one thing, another thing is reward.
As he looks to each of you all. And spreads his wings out, and almost brings them together onto himself to close you all in. As the moonstones of his scales shine brighter and brighter and brighter as he says to you all,
Would you accept the boon of a god, Drake?
Kieran gets like weak at the knees and just kind of collapses, and he's like, I'd never thought I'd see the day. A real god finally giving me something.
Sarathil's kind of just like someone in the same state too, but not like shaking, just kind of like still, just like completely breath taken away by the magnificence of this.
and it's the light of these stones and the way that you feel almost like you're detached from reality as you're within the wings of Glommung, that you feel like you're all become ethereal, but in a extra planar way, the planar travel that Talray always talks about, and the journeys he goes on with Glommung. You are not in the material plane while you're inside these wings. This is the true, like, power move that he's giving, that shows he is a god and not just a large, goofy dragon who likes to make dad jokes and cause pranks on his followers. You can see the power in his eyes now as he looks at you all, asking if you'd accept his boon.
Timber's like, another god. I just want to go back to my apothecary. Sure.
I like you. What of the rest of you?
Any boon you would offer to me would be most appreciated.
I don't know how much the boon of a dragon can help, but I'll accept it a reward.
See a little mage hand backhand at the back of the head of Ekbarlgoth.
I guess enough of that from Zendariel. I don't need it from you.
I must ensure, Zendariel, I am not treading upon her servants, but just a gift.
Talray looks up and says, "You've given me so much. How could I ask for any more? The only gift you need to give me is the fact that you're back."
No, it's easy, Talray. You just ask for more. Come on. It's a dragon.
Normally I'd agree with you, Ek, but this is a special case.
Fine.
And
fine.
you see Glommung just nods to you, Talray, an understanding between the two of you.
maybe my gift can be to send these folk off well and safe. They were good to me when I first met them. They had recently lost another one of their party members, and they took me in despite, their first reservations. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
Friends of Talray are friends of mine. I will take them where they wish after we are done here. So I impart upon you my blessing and boon.
As the shards of moonstone across his body glitter, as you all have been given a boon of Glommung, and you have two choices.
Gasp.
You can take the gift of the gem dragon feet. All of you can take it. Or one of the standard feats flavored towards a moonstone dragon. Gift of the gem dragon gives you 1 ability score increase and an ability called telekinetic reprisal, which is very similar to Queen Aella's Queen's Rebuke. When you take damage from a creature that is within 10 feet of you, you can use your reaction to emanate telekinetic energy. Creature that dealt the damage to you must make a strength saving throw, 8 plus your proficiency plus ability modifier of the score you choose, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. It's intelligence, wisdom, or charisma that you can increase. On a failed save, the creature takes 2d8 force damage and is pushed up to 10 feet away. On a success, the creature takes half as much. You can do this up to your proficiency bonus. Recharges on a long rest. So you can take that, or you can flavor any feat you want like this to be dragon related, basically. The other option.
I thought you were literally giving us boons from the DMG.
No. The other option is taking one of the dragon gifts, which are probably a little more interesting for some of you. The only one you can't take is the one Talray has, which is the.
Hope has Annihilator.
No, that's an item.
You mean okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, which would be your the one you use, Echo of Dragon Sight. So,
I haven't looked through all of them yet, but I think Kieran might take Draconic Senses, which gives him advantage on Wisdom checks.
You'd have advantage on all of your perception checks.
Because you needed it more.
Yeah, you also get Blind Sight to 10 feet, so...
Wait, where do you see this?
These are in
I'm gonna
Fizban's,
send it.
yes, I'll post the link in our chat right now.
Thank you.
I already got it. Oh wait, I sent it to the wrong chat.
I got it. I beat you.
Definitely
But there's a lot of really great ones in there. Like I like the draconic gifts are probably where you're gonna go for your choices, because those are probably the best things. But if there's a particular like feat you really wanted and you don't want to wait until the last feats any of you get.
Oh, Frightful Presence for fucking Echobalgoth.
But yeah, these are there's some pretty good ones in here. Like Scaled Toughness, your resistance to piercing and slashing damage, or you make resistance. Yeah. So go for whatever you want. You have freed a god, and they have given you a gift.
You could just become a Dragonborn. That would be funny.
You can, yeah. One of you could just become a Moonstone Dragonborn if you wanted to. Just completely change your race right here and now. With Draconic Rebirth. But while you guys are taking a look at that, I think that is the perfect time for us to go on a break.
Yeah.
Good idea.
You're going to be a little distracted for a moment.
Yep.
All right, we will be right back, folks. We're going to try to be back in 5 or 10 minutes. We'll see you all very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise. We are returning from our break, where our heroes just freed Glommung from his imprisonment. There we go. And he has gifted them a draconic gift. They are choosing those now or, over the next week. They don't have to choose it right away. But what we do have to do right away is how the visual manifestation of these gifts happen on your body. So I get everyone to roll me a 1d4. Start with Curon.
Curon gets a 4.
Okay, so I leave it up to you on how this manifests, because you all can choose how much or how little of the effect happens to you. So if Curon, if you wanted just your fucking arms to be fully covered in scales, you could if you want, or if it's just a little bit here, or if it's just somewhere. But you grow patches of scales on your character body. Typically, it's on the neck, shoulders, or forearms. But like I said, you can manifest this on Curon however you want. You don't have to say it right now. I'm going to go through everyone, and then everyone can tell me how it manifests on their body. All right. Sarathil, what did you get on that 1d4?
3.
A mark like a stylized dragon eye or claw appears somewhere on your body. So you get a magic tattoo, basically, that imbibes your gift onto you, or a marking on your body somewhere. So you choose where it appears, and it's usually a dragon eye or a claw, but you can make it into any kind of dragon symbol you want.
Cool.
Timber, what'd you get?
I got a 4.
You also get scaly patches, so you're a furry and scaly boy now. And Tal'Ray kind of already had all of these.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tal'Ray just
had
becomes
scales.
more dragon-like.
Sure.
Ekbralgoth, what did he get?
Eckerd got a 4 as well.
Okay, he gets some scales on his demon hide.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Wait, did he give me one anyway, Sean?
No, I guess he didn't know. Never mind. Then you wouldn't have rolled, yeah.
Okay.
I rolled another one that will come into play later.
Oh.
Okay, so as if you want to embellish on these, do as you wish. Otherwise, they can be subtle, of course. But if anyone wants to describe what it looks like now, they can. Or you could wait until next week, or forget about it.
Timber has scaly nipples.
Oh, I regret this. Basically, Timber loses his nipples and gets scales on his chest because lizards don't have nipples.
Yeah. Say bye-bye to your mammary glands. Not that you had them in the first place.
Damn! I'm not a milk person.
Nope. You're a scale man.
We are not the milk
You're a
people.
scale
We
man.
are not the milk people.
Anything? Anyone else have any way they want it to appear specifically?
I imagine for Curon, it creeps up along the left side of his neck a little, and you would see the moonstone scales kind of glintering in the light, what's the word? Reflective, I guess, like a little, and meanwhile, Ekbarlgoth, you can't tell, but his shoulders are just covered in scales now. He kind of shifts and itches, and also I actually imagine that it kind of appears on his armor more so.
Yeah.
You would see his shoulder pauldrons now have these pearlescent scales that adorn them, with the spikes that jut out.
Mingled with the Feywild
Mingled with
roots.
the Fey wood.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. You look, and it's almost like if Curon turns in the right way, the scales crawling up his neck catch the light. Not in the same way that, like, say, like just like looking at a reflection of a light in a window or something, but almost like it actually catches the light in between the scales and almost pulses with light for a moment, emanating with his gift. All right. As you all receive the boon of Glommung, he would look to you all and say,
I just chop liver here.
"Oh, I don't know. I'm
you
so
are.
sorry, Sarathil. I wasn't sure. Okay.
You are
chopped
Yeah,
liver, yes. But
clearly.
Sarathil,
I'm
what
just
is your boon look like?
Undead, moldy.
You got a moldy tattoo, basically.
I got a moldy tattoo. No, I was gonna say, the tattoo would be on his left eye,
Ooh.
where it's kind of like dragon wings, like from like the lid, like coming down over. Best way to describe it is thinking of Melina from Elden Ring.
Ah, okay.
So you look that up to see what I'm talking about.
I mean, I immediately went to the pigeon boxer guy, Mike Tyson.
Yes. Actually, you know what? Scratch what I just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, I don't want a Mike Tyson. I don't want a Mike Tyson face tattoo. Actually, no. I want to be Ed Helms' tattoo that he got of Mike Tyson from the Hangover movies.
Yeah.
Egg Helms.
I'm sorry, Egg Helms.
Yeah, get it right.
It is Egg Helms.
All right. Well, that would appear in this sort of same thing as like Curon's, where like in the right light it catches the light itself and almost pulses with that moon magic, that lunar magic. As Glommung would look to each of you.
I will do what I can to help here in Alicia. Wait, I will do what I can to help here in Alicia.
I'm sorry, what'd you just say?
Alicia.
Yeah, that's what they called it 1,000 years ago.
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
sorry,
accents.
I'm talking in the old tongue of Alicia. Alicia, I'm sorry. Well, you see,
I know,
named
it's
after
okay.
Queen
I made the
Aella.
same mistake.
Alicia, it would be Alicia.
Of course.
I get it. Of course, Aella Sia the land. So Aella Rula the... I'm so sorry I never put that together.
But language changes, as it does in all places. I will help keep the peace, and in whatever fights Taure has promised our aid. But for now, where would you like me to take you? What harbor, what safety? Taure asked that I bring you somewhere safe if necessary.
That's up for discussion. What do we want to do, guys? Do we want to go to the Citadel, or do we want to head back to our state and regroup before?
We still have... We don't know what happened. What Aella did when she fused the stones.
Right.
Not to
Well,
mention...
actually,
I forgot about that.
maybe Glommung can shed some light on that. Godric Glommung, do you have any idea what sort of power she was tapping into, what she needed you for in her quest to remove... We know that she wanted to remove Alicia from the material plane, but what exactly did she do?
Ah, yes. I can say what she was trying to do and shed light onto the truth of that matter. What happened to the world I would need to investigate. I felt the power shake from the fusion. She thought that my ability to traverse realities, planes, and the wild space beyond meant that she could take the land, or at least the people of the land, somewhere else. And she used my vision as Talray does, but manipulated it, controlled it to try to look for Iluvania's plane. But foolish! She was. There is no plane to be found. Alicia is the plane. This very land is infused with every ounce of Iluvania's plane of existence. The very twilight here protects you all from certain things in the grass and the dirt and the air and the animals, and all folk who step foot in the Vale touch Iluvania's plane.
Sarathil, this would make you think of the way you could detect celestial and fey magic in every single thing here. Dirt,
Right.
rock, water, animal, creature, plant.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Are you saying? So then, when Elysians pass on, where do we go? What happens to our souls?
You are reborn in a new body as long as the Telvid Hummer grow.
So then, she's still. They're all still here.
Yes, that is the gift of Iluvania. Of course, each spirit can choose to rest if they need it.
All this time, I was looking to the heavens to go somewhere else, when in reality, it was right here all along. We truly are blessed, we followers of Iluvania.
And what beautiful place it can be. But I think such graces are better shared. It's what I've come to learn in my captivity.
Sean,
Yes.
if I may, Kieran wants to make a mental note of precisely about the time Aella died.
Okay. So you would know that it is, as far as the date goes, you would know it's the 25th of Village Gloam. A Sunday. And I'll say you guys teleported fairly early in the day, and it's around the afternoon now. So I'm going to roll to see what time of day roughly is. Where the hell are my D12s? There they are. Okay. Aella was born approximately at
Aella born or died?
Sorry, my brain was going towards exactly what you are
Yep.
presuming.
Yep.
Little baby Aella.
Aella's spirit left her body at 1:15 p.m.
In what year is it? In the year of our Lord.
It is the end
The
of
Conservators?
1296. We're in the second to last month of the year
Okay.
of 1296. It's about to be 1297.
Well, Kieran has a post-campaign quest.
That's ambitious that you're gonna live.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you kill yourself right now, like you might come back as like her twin.
Oh no, the implications. So Glommung would then kind of unfurl his wings to return you all to reality, so to speak, given that you're not sure where you want to go yet. And he looks to you and says,
If you don't mind, I would like to go investigate what has happened. To better advise you as you asked. As he
looks upward towards the reference you've made to what had happened to the world. You didn't actually specifically say, but he felt the
Right.
the shockwave, so he wants to take a look around, since you guys are in his confined chamber still.
By all means. I imagine you want to stretch your wings.
Yes, I do very much.
As you see, he starts to blur again, and then he just ethereally moves through the ceiling and upward. You're now in this chamber alone.
Is Ulamo still there?
She is.
Okay.
Is that other guy still there?
Yeah. Ellis is still standing there holding his helmet in his arms. As you all kind of just were engulfed in this dragon, he's just standing on the outside and was just like... Ellis is now a dragonborn, actually.
Oh.
No. But yes, Ulamo is still in the room.
So, getting back to the Wayward Manor will be an easy enough feat with either Sarathil's teleportation. You learned that, right?
Yes. That's how we got here.
Right. Yes, my apologies. Or I have my old word of recall to bring us back. However, originally, well, we came here seeking three things once we met Talrain. Originally, we came here seeking two things. The last stone of Ilyuvania and an ally in the people of Elysia. We've gained one of those, Kieran says, taking out the 4 moonstones. But we haven't quite cemented the second, as our guard friend earlier made clear. I think it might behoove us to head to Sarathil, and ensure the current sovereign will get our support.
You hear Ulamo trying to lift herself up on the other side of the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Got yourself a fancy dragon, I see. I think
that was actually Aella that got the dragon.
I guess I never really knew who you were or who your personality really was. She lifts herself up, sort of rolling her eyes at the very, dweeby thing I just said to her. Well,
I'm
no,
sorry,
you see.
Kieran, a dweeb?
As she makes a rhetorical, sarcastic comment. I don't know how much I can help. But this is still my country,
Yes.
and I once led before this curse.
Please, Ulamo, since your time as sovereign, the current sovereign, is it Elwe or Elwe?
It would be Elway.
Elwe
She spits some blood on the ground.
is a spineless coward. Yes, exactly. I assume he was instated by Aella herself after your bout of rambunctiousness.
Hold on 1 second, Kiran. This is bothering me, and I just give her a health potion. Please, ingest this.
Thank you. she takes with her one good hand, because her other arm is completely obliterated, uncorks it and downs this health potion. She's like, as like a lot of wounds that don't heal perfectly, her arm doesn't heal perfectly from the healing potion, but it prevents it from just being a bag of bones. Her bones are not going to heal quite right, so she's probably not going to be able to use this arm unless you go through the really painful ritual of healing it perfectly, like you did for Scarlet.
Or spell of regeneration, right?
Or regeneration, correct.
I was about to say, I mean, I could help.
If you want to, you can, absolutely. If you want to help this poor woman, you can. Or you could
With their crushed arm? Yeah, kind of. As I approach her, it's like, it's unfortunate what all that was lost in this fight, but allow me see if I can help tend to this. As I will cast Regenerate, because I have that Lore Wizard ability.
You do.
Oh.
He learned Regenerate from our good buddy.
From Crazy Man. Crazy Gnome Man.
From
Which crazy gnome man?
Zvirfneblin Yoda. Regenerate, you want to learn. So Sarathil, it's interesting because you are, most of your healing or life is more like life transference. It's necrotic. This is much more of a pulling from the weaves of magic to reconstruct, and you feel that kind of power emanate into your hand, and this does it. Like you see the arm she does wince in pain a little bit as the bones piece themselves back together and refuse, but she holds her arm up completely pristinely healed, no scars at all. Thank you. I know Kiran. The rest of you. You. And she looks at Sarathil. You have the touch of the blessing.
I do.
They do not
But
know you.
unlike you, I was not touched or given this gift by Aella, but from a memory, at least, of Ilyvania herself.
Interesting.
And it's led me to follow Kiran here.
Hello.
That may go a long way in convincing seers that are hesitant to join this new world. But they have a certain fanaticism. Somehow my Spotify, where the music is, started playing on my kitchen thing, and is tried to play not ambient music. Tried to play Charlie XCX. What the hell?
Someone is hacking into your system.
And it's me.
On its mainframe.
They're in, but I kicked them.
Good.
The seers are more fanatical than most. The people of the valley, they don't know what really happens in Therismore. But Elway and Norrisil is, as you said, a spineless coward. He won't stand up without Aella protecting him.
Well, then the question becomes, who takes over and leads our people?
I cannot, because I am undying. And neither
Well,
can you, because you
yes.
are undying.
So then who?
If tradition is to be followed, then the shepherds must choose. If tradition is to be followed. A tradition held up by Aella for over 10,000 years. Challenged at times, the darkest times, but deeply rooted in the hearts of Elysia.
The shepherds would know the right choice to make. Though, there is an elderly druid I know who might fit the role well.
A hedge cleric.
Yes.
You have proved very wise, Kiranis Listana, in the short time I've known you. Suppose you may be right.
Regardless, the choice is not mine to make. But we should make sure that a choice is made, and someone who is willing to fight for our people is in a position of power to do so.
Yes. You'll need to act fast, given the flight of those seers. Without some truth being imparted upon them, they will spread the story of the heretic killing the people's queen. Combined with whatever attacks are happening, though not meant to attack their own people, I understand the attacks upon the spires could be twisted.
Of course.
Many who've died. To stop Aella.
Those druids were heroes. They did what they could to bring about change in this country. I think that they're the perfect choice. It might be difficult to transition, but you know, everything's difficult if you're used to being controlled by someone who everybody thought was a god.
That is also... It's going to take years. Decades, centuries, for Alicia to heal and evolve.
You say that, but I think you gotta give your people a little bit more credit. You may see them as subservient now, but I'm sure they're smarter than you think. Maybe we can get Glommung to help spread the word. And once people see what's going on in the sky, they might be inclined to change their minds to help us.
Don't mistake my warnings as hesitancy to do what is right. I ruled after the most cataclysmic event in our history and the history of this world. I've seen lands heal from far worse than a coup upon a queen. All I'm saying is Alicia won't be whole tomorrow. But it has a fighting chance now at whatever you're trying to protect us from, without a leader trying to flee.
Yes.
What are you trying to protect us from?
A great evil. A remnant. The Morsir conflict. The Pallid King. The same entity that corrupted Aella and drew her away from Iluvanya's light. He resides in the Feywild now, eating off the corpse of the Ashkeeper. His time will come soon, and he intends to finish what his master had started.
How can we stop something like that? The gods... they're not here.
No. But we are. And while it may seem hopeless at first, everything that we've seen, Kieran says, looking to the rest of the party, everything we've done to kill a god while seemingly impossible might be feasible with a party such as ours. At least some way to weaken it. There are other gods still manifest that don't wish to see the end of our plane of existence. The Font Mother still resides in the Feywild, though weakened. Astraeus, the god that leads the Sulk to the south, still has a vested interest in our plane. And Zendariel, Kieran says, gesturing to Ekbralgoth, has gone so far as to give us an ally in our fight.
I suppose you need all the help you can get.
Yes. That's all I've been doing these past few weeks. Asking for help, beseeching anyone that will listen to prepare for the coming war.
I suppose the cracks in the sky have something to do with all of this? I presumed it was the beginning of Aella's ritual to pull us out of this place.
I believe that was her intention, but as I said, she was led astray by the Pallid King. And what exactly is happening? Well, hopefully the little Drake will shed some light on what ails our plane.
We were told you came for the shards. What do you plan to do with them?
Huron takes them out again and just watches as they kind of like float, I imagine, like not form together, but like almost touching, like in this strange amalgamation of 4 different shaped shards that just slowly rotates in his hand. I was given a vision, a prophecy, by who I thought was Ilivania, who I still believe was Ilivania, to bring these shards together to gain the strength to fight the Pallid King.
Can you do that?
I can certainly try.
We need anything we can get.
I think it might be best to attempt this in the pools of Aella.
I suppose you're right. It still holds Ilivania's magic.
Yes. Well then, if there's nothing else, Kieran says, looking to the others.
Get the move on.
I'll stay here and await Glommung's return. Catch up to you soon.
I will stay with you. But soon, not today, but soon I must ride for Sarathil. And see to the safety of the people of this city.
Of course. Well, we might have a way to get there quicker if you'd like, depending on what we decide on, so.
Well, like you said, if you intend to save the world, you will need allies, and if I can secure this city, calm the people, let them know what is happening.
Yes.
Aella has said nothing to them over the last 5 days.
And why would she? If everything had gone according to plan, they'd be safe. Far away from the conflict to come.
That's true. All right. Well, let us go to the pools.
Hop, 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 hop. We go.
Here we are, at the pools.
We've arrived.
Did you just leave Ayla's body in the pools, or did you kind of bring her to the side and put a cloak over her or something?
Yeah, I think Kieran would have done something polite. Wouldn't have just left her there.
Yeah. So Ulumo kind of like eyes this cloak-covered body, and she pauses, almost like looking at like, because Aella was a small Elysian compared to the rest of them. Like, you know, she was more akin to the size of a human, and you can sense this warrior leader is almost like, I let her control me.
Yeah.
And then she moves on and kind of looks about the chamber. And is like, has this like, not fear on her face, but she's more on guard than you'd think she would be entering in here. She's just kind of eyeing the room in general. And even when you enter, there's generally just this miasmic aura that emanates in the space. Maybe it's remnants of the strings of the Pallid King that came down, but it just feels uncomfortable.
Now, when I go into the pool,
Mhm.
you know, I am now aware of the
Pallid King.
Pallid King's corruption. Do I still feel it?
Give me an Arcana or Insight or Religion check.
I'm gonna go with insight. Dirty 20.
It's very faint. It's almost like you've been drinking a soda or not a soda, just like grape juice for a while, and it's on the 10th sip that you're like, I think this is a little spoiled. It's not like it's subtle where you would have you can see why it was so easily missed, but now that you're aware of it intellectually, you can kind of seek it out and feel it slightly.
Okay. Before I attempt to unite the stones, I would like to. Now, so I'll ask this, Shaunarini.
Yeah.
So I've got an 8th level spell slot I can burn. And I've got a number of spells I can use it with, but nothing that quite, besides like a dispel magic. There's nothing that like directly would like eliminate this odor, if you will, of the Pallid King.
Yeah.
I do, however, still have ceremony prepped for some reason. A level 1 ritual that does have the ability to bless water. So I've got an 8th level spell slot and a 1st level ritual spell. What do I feel, and what mechanically would be best to do here in terms of trying to get rid of the Pallid King's corruption?
So, a few things here. I would say ceremony would not do this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not just because it's literally because of like the language of the blessed water part. It's just this water is already holy water. Like it's, even though there's a corruption, it is already blessed.
That's fair.
So that it would not do anything to the water.
Right.
And you're thinking of like an 8th level dispel magic.
Yeah. That's basically the best that I have
Yeah.
in my current situation. Well, so I have Holy Aura as an 8th level spell that's prepped, but it doesn't quite do anything. You know, that's more to just save myself and allies.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
necessarily affect the environment. And it doesn't specifically say anything about, I mean, yeah.
So kind of the same thing as during the battle. What you're trying to do is much more akin to a dispel evil and good,
Right.
which I would say is the correct spell here. So I would say those other spells wouldn't be able to replace that. Dispel magic, like in spirit, is similar, but it's not an
Right.
enchantment or a spell here you're dispelling. You are dispelling an evil presence.
Yes.
And if the spell dispel evil and good didn't exist, then I would say the next thing
That's
that would make
fair.
sense would be dispel magic. The strings coming down, the was a different story. because that was
Yeah.
more of an enchanting effect. This is a corrupted presence. So I would say if there's a spell you have currently, because I know you could probably just, on a long rest, prepare to spell evil and good if you don't have it.
Right.
If there's another spell that has a similar, like, dispelling of evil energy, I don't think, it sounds like you've already investigated the spells you have.
Yes. The only other thing might be forbiddance, but that's less about. That's more about teleportation and bringing into the space. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say from the spells you currently have, there's not really a one that fits what you're trying to do to the water.
Okay. All right, then I will, without doing that, attempt to join the moon shards.
Okay. What is everyone else doing during this time? I know you might just be watching him do this, but is there something specific or anything? Or like Curon, I guess Curon, do you say anything to them as well, like in preparation for this, as they're gathered around you?
So Kieran, you see him like walk into the water and like feels it a little, like kneeling down, runs his hands through and goes, looking back over his shoulder, more towards Sarathil, but goes, do any of you happen to know dispel evil and good off the top of your heads? Anyone have that prepared? Ulamo, you?
I'm a fighter.
Yeah, aren't we all?
I usually just punch those.
I unfortunately do not, Kira.
Yes, okay. Alright, well, I was hoping to dispel any lingering taint of the Pallid King, but it appears I don't have the necessary spells, and we don't have all the time in the world, so I'm going to attempt to join the moon shards now. I don't know what's going to happen, but should anything happen to me, well, you all know what to do. You all know what to do, right?
What? Sorry, I was distracted.
Of course we do, Kira.
Right. Kill me if anything bad happens. Alright, glad we're all on the same page. And he walks into the pool a little further and...
I can't contain it!
Yeah, exactly.
The shards respond to your touch easily enough. And it's not even like you don't need to force them together. Oh god, it's too loud. Anything where there's singing, it has to be lower than the normal music.
Of course, of course.
They dance together almost until they come together. And you see that full moon that Aella had created. It shines bright throughout the room. Sarathil, you feel for a moment like when Astraeus touched you, your heart beat.
Just for one moment.
Just for one moment. Your blood moves. Talray, down below, even though you're not here, you see a spectral woman standing in the vestibule of the steps that lead up to the chamber, shaped like an Elysian elf made of moonlight. Looking at you, eyes shadows. Timber, as the full moon flashes, you see almost through the ethereal moon, because it is a little bit transparent like the one that was in the previous room, and you see beyond it in the shadows in the corner of the chamber. The massive owl form of Astraeus in the dark, watching. Scarlet would see something if she was here. But unmistakable is the presence of Iluvania to you all. For a lot of you, maybe the first time. The last time you felt this way, Timber and Sarathil, was in the Oasis, when Kiran last fused a shard. In Timber, when you first witnessed the shard, and you saw the memory of Iluvania in the massive shard that had pierced Bayeret's heart. This, for you, Kiran, maybe it's up to you, but your doubts wash away. Maybe it was the Pallid King influencing you. Maybe. But whatever he was influencing you to do, this is real. The shards were always a part of Iluvania. The sky continues to crack and thunder. You hear a voice in your... No, his voice is out loud. It seems to come from the moon. To you, Timber, this voice comes from Astraeus. A voice that you've never heard before, but feels familiar to you. This is truly Noct. Kiran, this is not the memory of Iluvania you've heard before. This is a disembodied voice. As the moon rises from your hand and grows, and then whoosh, 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 3 symbols appear in the air. One that looks like a woman with a moon mask on her face. Literally a mask that is a crescent moon pointing out from her face. Surrounded by Telwood Hama. The middle symbol is this complicated hieroglyph of a weapon, it looks like. Almost like a spear. Surging with power. And the third symbol is an owl with stars in its eyes. And the voice says,
Lo, the lost sister. Might she return thus? At the breaking.
a pause, in the same voice.
Lo, the champion. Seizing the fate of all. Thus he ascends and descends.
Another pause.
Lo, the hidden brother. May he step from the shadow. To be made whole.
As you see these three symbols before you. You all hear that, by the way. That's not just in Curon and Timber's mind. But to them, it sounds personal. The Aeon spike is shaking and pulls from your back, Timber, and just sort of floats above the central option, one might say. As Curon, you now can see Astraeus as well in the corner, as you kind of your eyes focus past the illusory sigils.
Kiran, what do you make of this?
I'm not. Seeing Astraeus, I think Kiran looks back at Kaze, kneels before Astraeus, and then says, "Through the dawn, I am sustained. Through the dusk, I am protected. In their weaving, I am set free."
And with a pat on Kiran's shoulder, Timber kneels next to him.
Piety to the gods, to some of them at least, is...
Astraeus box a haughty croak of bird sound. It's in this moment, Timber, that I so regret not making Astraeus a raven. But no, there's just sort of this loud screech that comes from Astraeus at what the last thing you said there, Curon. It doesn't sound like Astraeus is like, yes, thank you for kneeling to me, but more, in Timber, you understand this is an anger at you for putting yourselves so beneath and prostrating yourself. Astraeus does not, in the way you understand, Timber, wish to be worshipped.
It's kind of, yeah.
Talray is in the other room, and he's just looking at this weird vision, and he's like, I want to thank you for helping me get my Goddrake free, but I don't know. Did you want something from me?
She just walks up the stairs.
I follow her then.
As you follow her, you would enter into this chamber where you would see Kieran has fused the shards and the moon and the everything that I've described, and now everyone can see Astraeus in the back corner. Sarathil, your heart beats again.
Kieran, get up. We're not supposed to kneel.
Oh,
I made a mistake.
Timber,
Yes.
this is... Are you seeing this as well?
Serious?
This is what I saw when I mentioned the aspect that visited me.
And in this larger owl
Timber's looking around very confused, like, I don't know.
yeah. Timber's like, I didn't learn about this part of Astraeus school. You didn't tell me what to do if Astraeus starts showing up in my friend's visions. I thought he only talked to me. In this large kind of almost, it's monstrous is a harsh word, but it's a monstrous form that Astraeus has taken on. It is like its base is a owl, but its face is more elongated. It's larger. It's more carrion-like in a little bit of ways. Maybe a little bit of eagle in there as well, like the umber eagles of the mountains where the sulk is, that your feather supply comes from for your rituals. But Astraeus does not seem to be here to interfere.
well, Kaze, your Aeon Spike. Lo, the champion seizing the fate of all, right?
What do you suppose make of that?
The woman walks past deeper into the chamber, Talray. And now you all see this celestial shape. The same shape that you saw lead you to Talray, Kieran.
Oh, yeah.
Is you Vanya? My queen?
The midnight shadow eyes stare back at you as this figure stands behind the first sigil.
Kieran just, he was starting to rise from what Kaze had said, but he immediately drops back to his knees and goes, Crescent Heart, I've lived every day in service to you. Gone through so much to bring you here. Please. Please. No more riddles. No more quests. We need your help, now more than ever, to protect your people and all the people on this plane. Please, I beseech you.
This only Kieran hears. And Sarathil, I'll say. Because Sarathil, you've felt the direct touch of Ilyavanya before, and of a memory of Ilyavanya. And you immediately recognize this as a memory of Ilyavanya. You have been spoken to by one before, a memory of Ilyvania's, who gave you your charge to seek out one who would save the world.
Yes.
You both hear,
I am but a memory, not deified flesh and blood, not deified mind and spirit. I am what remains. A warning. Thus you've heard before. The choice is now yours.
Choice? What choice?
Well, I didn't say anything. Would you?
What?
No, did you not hear?
I did as well. Did no one else?
The gift of Ilyvania. Her memory.
What choice could she have meant for us to make now? I don't
think
understand.
It's one of these, Kieran says, gesturing to the symbols. The first, for the lost sister, night, returning to us at the brink. The original prophecy she gave me. The second, the champion, seizing the fate of all, to ascend and descend. And finally, the hidden brother, Kieran says, gesturing to Astraeus. May he step from the shadow to be made whole. We have a choice to make friends. To resurrect the past, he says, Kieran says, gesturing to the left. To make way for the future, he says, gesturing to the right to Astraeus. Or to seize it for ourselves, he says, gesturing in the middle. This is not a choice I can make alone.
Well, let's start with the past. Why would we want to resurrect the past?
When I received my gift, the magic of Ilyvania, she told me to bring her back to the plane to protect her chosen people against the threat of the Pallid King himself. My journey would come home with the completion of this. Cough, cough.
that was Scarlet.
Yes.
From what I know of your plane, the gods of the past were, fighting, and I don't think that either side turned out completely unscathed. If we choose the past and return Ilyvania, we can't guarantee we're not bringing about the destruction of your plane once again.
I don't know if I agree with that sentiment, Talrang. Ilyvania sacrificed herself to save our plane. It was only this tiny corner, but she fought harder than any other god I know to protect Gwenvalor.
Ultima would chime in here. in response to Talrea in next to Curon, because she's just been kind of like leaning against a wall here, kind of watching, and you know, she similarly has a revering face on. She didn't bow like Curon, but Curon, you can tell that she's been silent this whole time because I guess she would actually even say it. There was never anything like this with Aella. Then she looks to Talray. Both the gods of the past and the gods of what was the people of that time's future fought. The remnant and the new gods all suffered to save this world. But those gods have been forgotten in your lands to the south. In place of others. And she turns her eyes to Ekbralgoth, insinuating the cult of Zendariel has been problematic.
He just shrugs his over-exaggerated. She actually did something, and won, by the way.
Now, for the center, for us to take the torch?
A future I swore to Robert not to go down. They said the champion would ascend. I assume that means given the power to fight the Pallid King. And descend. Which I assume to mean their death.
Sean, my Aeon spike is floating in the middle too, right? In the center one. You said?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Just read it, yeah.
I would give myself willingly, as I'm sure you all know, in a heartbeat, but to his words, I would be removing myself from the responsibility of everything that comes after. And there's so much I am now responsible for. Kiran says, looking towards Ulamo, but also just around to the temple as a whole.
You see Ulamo gives kind of like it's that like look of recognition and respect that she looks back at you with, as she, in non-verbal language, kind of resigns herself to your choice. As she kind of just sits back quietly.
Is the choice or the mantle for you alone to take? Because I have nothing left attaching me to this world but a mission to save it. And I'd be willing to sacrifice myself to see the end of the Pallid King's tyranny.
Of this I do not know, Sarathil.
Then
is
of the
offer.
future, I don't know much about Astreus. Perhaps Timber can enlighten us more, if that is the path we're deciding.
Glommung trusts both gods. I don't think there's a wrong choice if we between all three, but I would regret to say that I mean, I wouldn't want any of you sacrificing yourselves for the sake of this realm. You're powerful and kind people that could do a lot more good. We should leave the business of this of the gods to the gods. Don't try and be a hero, Sarathil.
I just want to make the point that Sarathil is already a hero. You've done so much great work for us. We really appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
You see, Noldo is standing there now.
Duh! When'd you get here?
I do imagine, like, even though he's a big ass golem, and Kiran is the most perceptive creature on this plane of existence, that Noldo is the only one who can sneak up on Kiran.
Well, it's anytime, like, I feel like this happened before.
He just, like,
you described it
flies
as just
out of
like,
the
and
ground.
Noldo
Yeah.
is there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what? When did he get here?
Well, the thing is, I imagine it's kind of like, well, to explain why I don't RP as him more,
That's fair.
is like he is a rock. Like sometimes he's just standing there still, and he's very easy to perceive as just a rock or part of a wall or something. And then he just like his eyes open, and he just starts talking. Because without Wiswick there, unless you guys prompt him, he doesn't really have a reason to say anything to you all.
Yeah.
He's really only there to help you, so he doesn't talk unless you talk to him or something prompts it. And in this situation, he just kind of is marveling, and he just says, Master Nitherrock spoke of Ilyuvania. He said that she was not as strong as Noldogra, but a very good goddess. To trust her. But he also said to trust in the Wayward Five. Friends. He did not speak much of Astraeus. Yes.
I would like to scum save so that we can pick all three options and see which one is better for us.
Yeah.
Quick
Because the
saving.
indecision is giving me an aneurysm.
So, if you would like, since we are approaching 10, we could end a little early, and you can make this choice next week.
No, because
now.
less fun.
Let's make it
Yes.
worse.
Would that make it worse?
yes, it would make it worse. This needs to happen. But I still request the right to scum save. So if I don't like the outcome,
You can request
we
it.
can go back.
You can certainly request it.
All right, cool. I'm making a
So,
note.
I'll give you the
notes.
I'll give you the address where you can send that letter of request for a scum save.
You can only load it after the campaign.
Yeah, you have to play all three options fully through.
Hey, after the campaign,
I know you
done
would.
off screen, I'll do it with you.
I know you would.
Yep. Very nice.
And then I'll sit there and be like, "Oh my god, how do you design this shit?" And when they pick all three.
Well, I guess the best way to do it is a vote, right? That would be the only thing that's fair. I mean, I don't know if I could be a tiebreaker. This isn't really my plane. I mean, I don't want to, decide the fate of everything that you folks have been working for. But I feel like I can be an impartial observer.
I feel like I'm not going to role play it, but just to add it, and Shannon can change it later, but I feel like what Shannon would say in this moment as Scarlet is trust in you, Kiran. Like, she would say something along the lines of, this has been your journey, and we've come here for you. So, if that means, for mechanical purposes of your guys' choices, that means I'm going to say Scarlet's vote goes to wherever Kiran's vote goes. If you vote for it.
That's fine.
Even if you guys, RP-wise, probably would have had a fight at the beginning of this, and she's here because
Yeah.
you killed Rodrin.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well,
And that's the scum save built into here, because next week Shannon can change her vote and we'll redo.
True.
So Timber's been like the corner of his eye, just keep looking at Astraeus every so often. Not really.
Timber.
Yeah.
For a moment, you see standing beside Astraeus is that shadow version of yourself standing there, holding the kunai and just kind of like throwing it up in the air and catching it. As you look up and see the kunai is on the Aeon spike. Astraeus looks at you, and there's not a word said to you necessarily, but a reminder of what Astraeus has taught you over the last year, which has been you must conquer your own self and make the unselfish choice. Always. But at the same time, you've learned over the years with Noct that you must make your choices wholeheartedly and don't regret them. You could... Noct doesn't have an opinion here. Noct will accept any outcome. But Noct is reminding you what the Order has been doing for so long. And that could go... There's arguments for that to go in any direction. And I leave that to your interpretation. That equal force could go in any of the three.
Oh, yeah. So, in my personal opinion, I don't know if I'm ready to give myself up. I almost want to say leave it for the gods. I'd like to get back to my kids. If I know I've made it this far without. I've been with you this far, Kieran. For all that Astraeus has taught me, and looking over again at the owl, I think my choice still resides within you, as Scarlet has said too.
And I'll imagine, just for RP's sake, that they're standing next to each other on like a side that's just supporting Kieran, and as they originally joined this party together.
Currently, Talray is scratching votes into the wall. It's currently like the Kieran's vote is in the middle, and he's just like waiting with his nail on. Sorry, Sarathil's vote is in the middle, and he's waiting with his nail on Kieran, like on the Ilyvania side, like.
If that's what Kieran chooses.
Ekbralgoth walks forward.
Ooh.
And goes, now, this, he says, gesturing to Kieran, not even giving him a label at this point, is all about believing in the gods and all that. And let me tell you, the gods, they have power. But where do the gods come from? Who assumes the mantle? Even The god drakes were once simply drakes. If I've learned one thing from Zendariel's tale, it's that, well, anyone with the right mindset can become a god. And he walks slowly towards the center. And he looks up at the Aeon Spike and goes, if you're looking for a champion to ascend, and Kieran immediately cuts him off. He's like, no. Ekbar Olgoth, seneschal of whatever the hells you are. We appreciate all the help you've given us. But I think going forward, the Wayward Five should remain just that. Kieran says, looking to Scarlet and Kaze behind him, to Sarathil and to Talray. The Wayward Five. And we don't need anyone else stepping up for us. Thank Zendariel for everything she's done. I think we have our faith in our own god. And Kieran walks towards the left symbol. And as he starts to reach out a hand, he looks back and he says, if anyone has something else to say, please, let it be known now. I place my faith in what originally gave me the power to be here today. I place my hope on that which showed me a light again and again. And I place our future on a memory of the past so that we may learn and become stronger for it. Are we all in agreement?
Talray just, puts the votes on the wall to depict that it's overarching on the pass side, because we got 4 votes passed, 2 in the center, but like 2 separate people in the center. It's your plane. You do what you think is right. I wish you the best.
I will say one thing before you decide, Kieran. Because it's clear that whatever you decide will be the outcome. And I'm okay with whatever you decide. After all, Iluvania did lead us, or me, to follow you in this venture. But, and I'm not trying to sway your faith. In my studies of the gods, I know, although they can be malevolent, they have their own wishes, needs, and wants. And all I'm saying is, we at least know what we want. To put our faith in each other and have us write our own destiny. Is what I would say. Is what I would decide. But that's me saying, coming from someone whose powers were granted from Iluvania. So, I'll leave the decision to you. Just as you said, just wanted to speak my piece before.
I don't know what to do.
I'm would be lying if I didn't say I'm enjoying this so much.
Kieran is hesitating, and he's looking to Sarathil, almost with a pleading look that just says, please take this responsibility away from me. And he looks at Ekbar Olgoth and says, no, not you, and turns back to Sarathil.
You see, anytime Ekbrogoth tries to move towards anything, like his neck will start.
Yeah.
And in his head, he hears a demonic queen's voice saying, "I will recall you."
Like, Kieran's hand is there, is almost touching, but it has yet to connect, as he just looks pleadingly towards Sarathil.
Which one?
Iluvania, to the left. And I imagine Sarathil's in the middle, closer to the Aeon Spike.
Sarathil will wait for a second. Take a long breath. And clasp it on Spike.
Is there any opposition that happens, or is it everyone let him happen?
No, Kieran's hand is still inches away, but he doesn't move at all, just watching Sarathil.
Timber's not watching Sarathil. He's just looking at Astreus like, I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Talray, knowing that he stops Sarathil by grabbing his other hand and just looks at him and says, "You gotta trust your friends' decisions. I said that I would be a judge. But if you take this upon yourself, it's your decision, not ours."
You can still grab it, but
Yeah, like I pulled him away gently, so he's like, he could still reach out and grab it, but like, I pulled
Just to
him away
save
so he
peace.
couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
you still want to, you still can.
No, he'll grab Iluvania's instead this time,
Okay.
and nod to Huron.
So I think I almost imagine like
As in any
like,
video game, I'm going to get the little menu pops up right now and says, "Are you sure?" I'm not trying to persuade you anyway. I just want to make sure you're making your choice and you want to do it.
I think.
Wait. What if?
Could you imagine Shannon pops into the call right now and is like, "No!" Scarlet runs up and grabs the Aeon Spike. No, but I just want to make sure whatever you choose right now, the last is your decision. No going back. So,
Yes.
would you like to choose Iluvania?
So,
What
in
if-
this moment, are you actually going to say something?
Lock it in, Champa!
Yeah.
Lock it in! Lock it in! Lock it in!
But
Lock
Sarathil,
it
you were going
in.
to say something to Kieran in this moment. And I imagine at this point, like, everyone is, like, it's like this gracious light of the goddess filling the room, but it's like the tensest room in all of Gwenville right now. As I imagine Timber, you're watching Astreus, who is really watching you now and kind of looking at you, and you two are kind of just staring at each other, probably with the same thought in your heads. Even gods have doubt. Scarlet, I imagine, is watching Curon and Sarathil very intently, and I imagine by this point she's kind of like grabbed onto Timber's arm or something. But Ulumo is kind of just, she's like biting her nails. She's us, the audience. She's me. Just being like, what the fuck are they gonna do? Ekbralgoth is just getting burned and probably very irritated with the mortals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's just
probably.
like, why can't we just choose power? Come on, it's so delicious.
And Curon, you watched Talray grab Sarathil's arm and give him that last warning. And I imagine Talray
we'll say
takes a
that.
step
Yeah,
back.
and that's fair. As I was approaching, you definitely did that, and I will say for sure, instead of reaching for the Aeon Spike, he'll reach over to Curon's arm and kind of guide him into grabbing Aella's rift or rune.
I grab it too. We're all gonna grab it together.
Come on, everybody, gather around.
Wait. Are we sure that this one? None of these
Too
are
late.
The decision has been made and is locked in.
Your vote's on the wall already, Timber.
Exactly. This is all actually has been determined. Really, Talry's the only one who knows that you're not supposed to touch the freaking floating picture. You're supposed to put marks on the wall. That's how you choose which one. No.
Clearly.
Kieran, you reach. Well, Sarathil reaches your hand up. And as you enter the aura of the sigil, something comes out of it. A spectral hand made of moonlight that takes your hand. And you almost instinctually pull your hand back as you see him. It's almost as if Ilyvania herself is descending steps, and you have her hand and you're guiding her down them. Kieran, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Has it been 10 minutes? I'm just kidding. 17.
This figure fully appears now. The memory disappears that was walking, and as this figure is being pulled out, all of the sigils form into this sort of portal, and the moon itself comes into this space and almost molds and begins to grow. Kieran, you feel a tightness in your chest. A sickness, almost. You feel weak. And even as you're holding this hand, you might fall to one knee. You're still holding the hand as this spectral, moonlit woman steps out. The thunder claps again. As the waters of the font shift. Their light dims. As Kieran, this tightness in your breath turns to hoarse coughing. As you all see this happen to Kieran as he's holding the hand of this assumed reincarnation of Ilyvania. A drop of spit comes out of your mouth, Kieran, into the waters. And like ink turns it a horrid shade of rotten red, vermilion. As this room darkens entirely, the only light now is this maybe reborn Ilyvania. The form just is looking down at Kieran, even as he's suffering in her hand. Loud cracks of thunder and lightning above, as you all hear. And this now darkened chamber is lit up by the flashes of that light. Because there's no more pillar of light that goes up to the sky from this font. and the hollow tower above you all ignites with the light of flames. Is anyone who looks up would see little tears of your world fall like burning tissue as small pieces fall into this chamber down the center, as this noxious water is moving up Kieran's legs and body towards his arm and the hand that holds this delicate reborn god. What do you all do?
Kieran is going to try to throw himself away, realizing what he thinks is happening. He's going to try to release the hand of the moonlit individual, almost throwing himself back into the water.
Talray's gonna fly over and try and grab the thing out of Kieran's hand so the goop doesn't get it.
Okay, I'm just going to take down what everyone's doing, and then I'll describe it all together in a montage. So Talray's going to grab the moonlit figure to try to keep them from the water. Kieran's going to throw himself down into the water to avoid clasping it,
Break that
reaching,
connection.
break the connection. Sarathil and Timber, are you doing anything? Scarlet runs to help Kieran.
Yeah, that's what Timber would do too. Is like help sever the connection even further, whether it means by just.
Oh,
yeah.
Kieran, you hear in your head.
Good joke.
Sarathil, do you do anything?
I'm going to cast Wall of Force in between, right where the hand connection is, to try to separate.
Absolutely.
At this point, I think Kieran is just screaming in rage at his foolishness as he hears this and is falling into the water and is just screaming.
And I actually think this is a good place to end and resolve it. You know what? No, you guys said what you're gonna do. I'm gonna resolve what you do, and then we'll end. No cliffhanger this week. I'm gonna resolve what you do.
We sure about that?
Well, I mean, I guess it's still.
I still got a lot of questions.
So, Kieran throws himself to the ground, severing his connection to this fledgling essence, as a wall of force goes between them, buffeting him back to keep him further away, as this essence is moving up Kieran's body still, as Scarlet and Timber go and try to help Kieran. I imagine you guys are just trying to pull him up out of the water and trying to slew this slop off of him. As Talray, you fly forward, and you sweep up this this woman, this spectral woman, and she is in your arms. As soon as she let go of Kieran's hand, she seemed to almost begin to faint, and that's when you catch her. As you fly around, and I imagine join the others in the other. Or you?
I was just gonna go away. Yeah, up.
Okay.
Further away from the pond.
Okay. So Kieran is screaming in the waters as Talray is flying upwards. The nearest exit would actually probably be the broken stained glass windows on this level.
Right.
Kieran, you feel the Pallid King's presence inside you for this moment. That voice mocking you. Good joke. But all your efforts over the year, that in this moment you do realize was fully in the service of the Pallid King. That he wanted this moment. He wanted to take the nascent Ilyuvania. But you look around in pain, coughing still, as you're screaming between fits of screams as the coughs, as you hear Scarlet crying for you, you hear Timber saying, Kieran, wake up. Sarathil, you're... I imagine almost like you're sculpting this wall now, because I imagine at this point you'd almost want to use
after
it to
like breaking it
protect.
off, I can like move it with like different panels.
Exactly.
I guess.
What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with it?
Try to like, I guess, build in a way to see if I can, as best I can. I don't even know if it could work or not. Like, try to separate the water away from Curon at this moment.
You can. I'm going to say you can in this moment, because you can make a dome with you can make a sphere with it. It doesn't have to be it can enclose itself, and I imagine you're pushing like all forces pushing the water out. It is trying to keep moving towards it, but Huron, you look around at all of these people who've supported this exact mission that has now come to its ultimate end. You see Talray flying away with what you believe to be this nascent Ilyuvania. The whole chamber is so dark. Is it the end? Have you lost? Is it over? You see Noldo kind of hovering over you all now in that defensive stance. And as Talray reaches the window, you see is Glommung now. In this ethereal form, he moves forward. And Talray, you were almost buffeted and moved with him towards the party as his wings hover over all of you. The nascent form of Ilyuvania there as well, with you. Like a mist of dreamy water, you all vanish as Glommung pulls you away from the rotting water and the touch of the Pallid King.
Glommung!
Who?
You're looking, Kieran, you're still feeling violently ill as you're in this you're in the ether, really. The plane of space in this moment. Seeing infinity around Glommung. She's bringing you elsewhere. You look up at the face of Noldo. And then down to the core. And he begins to melt into the core. And you see a dazzling light burst from it, of chromatic rainbow color. As you all reform outside of the city. Not too far, you can still see the city. But away from the corrupting waters. Ulamo is with you. You caught Ulamo too. And you look up at the sky, and you see a gaping chasm in reality, with the horrid pallid skies beyond. But then you see it begins to repair itself somewhat as forces push against it. You see for a moment an arm rip through it and then gets pushed back. And now you see it as this breach, bigger than it was before, not just a crack. Now it is a barely held together glass window, much like if you actually tried to smash like really unbreakable glass and try to push through it. And you can see it just pulse with the resistance on the other side. You're all staring at this as Curon, you are recovering from the infection of the Pallid King. You see Ulamo starts to drop to her knee and cough in a fit. Unwell also. And you see in the waters out here, because you're in somewhat of a small, boggy area, the arcane core flickering with this orange light surrounded by the chromatic patina. Strands come out of it and start to imprint a small gnome. It's almost as if built in a hologram way / 3D printed. Stepping out as if from a portal is Wiswick.
I knew you'd be back.
Wiswick?
Hello.
What?
You're just in time, friend.
I've returned.
What? Where have you been? And Timber's gonna like run over and try to like, you know, he's not happy based on the situation, and nobody
It's nice
is.
to see a friend in this terrible situation.
You hug Wiswick tight, and it feels like there's no, like he just ragdolls in your arms. Like he's not really sure what's happening yet. It's almost like he's in a fugue state, and he kind of just looks down and like is feeling the sensation of like your fur on his body, and his newfound body, and he slowly puts his hand up to like clasp your back. Still, you know, something doesn't look right with him. Like his face doesn't show any emotion, and he just looks at all of you and says, "What happened?"
And that's when you all would look and see, clutched in Talray's arms, who's kneeling on the ground in the waters of this swamp that you've been teleported to, is a corporeal woman. As you see, slowly forming over her are robes of lunar white, her skin a porcelain, her face concealed behind a crescent moon mask. A hood forms over her head. She lays unconscious in Talray's arms. A reborn Ilyvania. Stefan.
This is really important. What color is her hair?
You green.
Curon has
the color of
dreamed about.
Ilyvania?
Okay, I had to sit there and I had to search in my head. Is there a lore reason why he's asking
No.
this? No, it's just Curon's
No.
perspective.
Yes, Curon. I think I mentioned this once. He was talking to Rocco, and was trying to imagine what Iluvanya looked like, and he
Yeah.
always went back to her hair, what her hair looked like.
So first of all, her hair would almost seem to, because when you first see her, she's coming out of that spectral state, almost like metal cooling.
Right.
And her hair it cools last, so to speak, as the mask is before the face cools to show you the face. The mask forms in front of it, and then her hair seems like completely blinding light until it softens.
Which purple?
It softens to a deep, dark,
And that's where we're going to end the session.
black. As Curon's world is shattered around him with strands of silver.
I always imagined it was like a platinum.
Or like a neon color.
But as Wiswick says what happened, and you all look to Talray holding the nascently reborn Ilivanya, that is where we'll end tonight.
Woo!
Oh, shit, thank you for that. Thank you for that raid, folks. You joined us during a very tense moment that requires a lot of knowledge of the game, the campaign. But you have completed your task, Curon. This is, and you know in your heart, you don't know like her, like what's truly like her ability is. You don't know like what this means, but you have resurrected Iluvanya.
Hell yeah.
And because of the choices you've made in the sense of the friends you've made and the allies, and their actions as well, you've avoided the Pallid King completing his true mission, which was to take the nascent reborn goddess. But in the process, you've shattered the world deeper with the rebirth of a god in its full godhood, not a new manifestation born of its memories, brought them back from those memories. Something has created a maybe temporary barrier, perhaps to give you time. And Wiswick has returned. So, join us next week to find out what happens, and find out if Wiswick is I didn't describe it, if Wiswick is just butt ass naked here, or if he has 3D printed clothes on.
I imagine just a lot of mud
Yeah, he's just covered
coming
in
out
mud.
of Noldale.
I wonder if I still have my butt tattoo.
Oh, it's still there.
God.
There's no way it hasn't.
Oh, I love it. But folks, thank you for joining us. We have programming throughout the week. I promise I'm actually streaming Relaxing in Paradise this week. I'm going to play Cult of the Lamb this week. So,
I started it. It was so good.
dude, I played 2 seconds of it, and then I was like, I want to save this.
I saw that. Is it good?
And the coolest thing, I don't know if you noticed this, Stefan, but they have Twitch integrations. So if you guys watch on Wednesday, you can influence the game. It integrates with Twitch where when I'm making choices and I'm doing things, you can help or harm me. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but we're going to try it out on Wednesday.
I guess I'll have to clear my schedule.
And then you know, we have the Power Hour on Sunday where I will recap this and Shannon will listen. Although she said she would watch.
She's gonna watch this.
She's gonna watch
the
it, especially when she finds out what happened.
Yeah.
No, keep it a secret.
Right? Just tell her like, yeah, you know, nothing really happened. It was a shopping episode. They decided to go down into Theros Moor. See, they went to the
We
tavern.
learned a lot about the scraps
Glommung,
in their
we
culture.
couldn't find
It was
Glommung. He
all
wasn't
about the
there.
scraps.
Couldn't find Glommung. We went into town to talk to people. They threw rocks at us because we killed their queen.
Yeah. Yeah, you went outside and a mob took you out and finished you up for killing the queen.
Turns out pitchforks and torches a lot stronger than you thought.
Oh, yeah. Every farmer in Elysia has a +3 magic pitchfork.
Yeah.
Kieran doesn't realize it because he thought it was just a tool that he used to
Right. Well, that was one of Ayla's big things, was that she was really trying to help the little guy out, you know, and so she gave +3, because what's that to a god?
It's
Demigod.
true. It's true. All right, folks, we're going to send a raid on over to the Free Forge, who are playing Elden Ring right now. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you all next week. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.